Hi, everybody, and welcome to Connecting ACO Community. I'm Derek Bermel, Artistic Director of ACO, and Connecting ACO Community is made possible by a lead gift from Augusta Gross and Leslie Samuels. And thank you so much to our wonderful team at ACO, Lindsay Working, Aiden Feldkamp, Jade Jung, and Stephanie Polonio. And thank you so much to Jensen Artists as well for hosting. And today, ACO is moving to two different continents. We've got the esteemed violinist Kelly Hall-Tompkins and composer Guy Mintus. And Guy is joining us from Israel, where I believe it is about midnight. So thanks for staying up, Guy, for your world premiere. And so I guess we've got the Poconos and we've got Tel Aviv. Take your pick. The title of the composition that you're going to hear today for the world premiere is Inner Compass. And please, audience, tell us where you're calling from. On StreamYard, you can use the chat function to let us know where you are, how you're feeling, what you think about the music. And for the best results, I would suggest that you use Ethernet and wear headphones if you want the best audio possible. So, so let us know what you think. Let us know where you're calling in from. And welcome to Guy and welcome Kelly.
Hello.
Hi.
Great to be with you.
Great to see you both. Yeah, this is very, very exciting. So, Guy Mintus, is there anything you would like to tell us about this world premiere?
Yeah, so the piece is called Inner Compass. The title actually has two different meanings, which we'll get into later. But really, in its essence, the piece started pretty much from a conversation Kelly and I had after an improvisation session we had in Brooklyn, which was the first time we played together and probably the only time. And after that, we spoke about how much we love flamenco music. And I think that conversation plus just, my whole experience of Kelly and her spirit and her diversity and all the different influences and languages that she weaves together and how I perceive them, that kind of became the piece. So the impression of all these things led into the piece that's called Inner Compass. And yeah, I'm excited for you all to hear it. And of course, we'll talk more later.
Yeah. And Kelly, can you tell us, so we asked you to choose any composer out of either a big list or someone else that you knew, and you saw Guy Mintus on that list and you said, I know Guy Mintus, I would like to work with Guy. Why was it, and what brought you to his music?
Well, I actually did listen to all 75 composers on your list, but I saw a guy on the list in the beginning, and I was like really drawn to working with him. This time last year, I think it was, we have a common friend. Her name is Marguerite Pitts, and she called me up one day and she said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, I'm booked." "Why?" She said, "I have someone at my house. You have to meet him. You have to work together." And I thought, okay, well, I'm booked tomorrow. And she said, "Well, you have to talk on the phone." So I'm putting him on the phone. And she put him on the phone, and we really clicked and hit it off, even just in the phone conversation. So we had the jam session that Guy mentioned, and we just really have similar sensibilities. Oh, we're featured together on the Fiddler on the Roof film by Max Lukowitz. And I was so taken with, seeing myself for the first time on the big screen. I went to see the film 5 times, and I was so taken with Guy's music in that film. And so when we got together, we knew we wanted to do a project together, and we had this jam session. And so I was thrilled when you contacted me, Derek, and told me about this ACO opportunity, because I thought it's a great opportunity to realize this really strong connection that we have. I love just the sensibility that we share about music, the depth of visceral feeling, and not just, intellectual note finding, and we love the Semitic feel and the flamenco and jazz. And I thought I've always wanted to have a piece in a flamenco style. We have lots of Spanish music, sort of generically Spanish music, but nothing that's really kind of more gutsy flamenco. And Guy really just shares that sensibility that I have about it. So it was easy. It was very easy. And I could not be more thrilled. I'm really, really excited to add this piece to my repertoire.
Wow.
Well, there you go. A ringing endorsement from one of the great virtuosos of our time.
Wow. Wow.
Let's go right to the music, and then we'll talk a bit afterwards about your process of working together and all that kind of thing. So now we are going to hear violinist Kelly Hall-Tompkins and in composer Guy Mintus's Inner Compass.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. No, thank you. Wow.
Oh.
Oh my God. What a treat. Oh my God.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a treat for me. I love playing the piece.
Oh, makes me
Well,
so happy.
you're getting all kinds of accolades coming in from Israel, of course, home team, I guess, Michigan, Philadelphia, Delaware, Florida, and even my rival borough of Queens. So I'll add kudos from Brooklyn. What a wonderful performance, Kelly. Thank you so much. And
Thank
I mean,
you.
I have to say, even if I was a Yenta, I'm not sure I could have made a better match.
Exactly. Well, I think that was Marguerite. She was the matchmaker here.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, really
and yes,
interesting that came
Anthony
about because of Fiddler on the Roof.
really did, yeah. But
Yeah.
I think,
So,
there's something about the energy of flamenco and the intensity of it and the harmonies of it and the articulation. I brought in some elements to really evoke some of the footwork and some of the castanet work and just the attitude and the just all of it. There's so much, and then of course it's modern. It's a modern piece. One knows that fairly quickly from the beginning, but it just has the fire and the energy of flamenco, and I love that so much. And somebody put in the comments, yes, from memory, because I looked at a piece like that and I learned it in a week and a half, and Guy had asked me my ideas about names, and I said something with compas, and when he finally came up with the idea for the name Inner Compas, I was like, that's it. That's it. That's the thing that we share, and that's the thing that I feel like I have in my bones, and that is not a piece that you read from the page. Inner Compas, that's exactly it. It's an internal experience. So I had to get off the page immediately for that.
What is your process? You were talking about, you said you learned it in a week and a half. What's your process of learning a new piece like this with a composer with whom you've never worked before? And how do you go about that? What's the daily process?
yeah, I also want to know, how do you learn something so fast? I mean,
Well,
it's crazy.
it really helps to start with this baseline of such a shared sensibility that Guy and I have. I mean, I knew that's a pretty powerful jumping off point. And I didn't know if he'd written for violin before. I just knew that when we got together, well, I did look and see that he wrote concerto and he had string parts and all that stuff. But when we got together, we just had this shared sensibility. So I knew whatever was going to be on the page was going to come from that space, and that's already very powerful. And then when he put a couple of sketches on paper and we had our first Zoom meeting, he even said, I think you already really connect with these notes. And it was true. I did. And then of course the piece was just, like some notes and sketches. And when it finally, was rendered fully, we had lots of back and forth of, I think this should be this, and maybe we could make this that. And I think that should be shorter. And, oh, I really feel this like this. And can we change this to that? And there was so much of that I wasn't sure if I then had time to commit it to memory, because there's so many little changes back and forth of notes and articulations and dynamics. But then once I got started, it was just this obsessive pull to make this piece inner. It's inner compas. And I was obsessed with realizing that fully. And there are lots of intricacies of the double stops, and it took a lot of repetition to really internalize some of those changes and to make it really but they felt like I knew them already. It felt like they were new, but it felt like I knew them already. So it really was from a powerful place of connection, and it goes really far to learn a piece like that fast.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, it was just phenomenal, and I think you've got the midnight Israel crowd rooting for
Yeah.
you. They're up, they're alive, they're in it, they're ready for more. They want encore. Um, uh, but Guy, we got to know each other because you participated in the ACO's Jazz Composers Orchestra Institute several
Yes.
years ago, and then we got to play a little together, and I guess we bonded a little over my time spent in Jerusalem years and years
Yeah.
ago with Andre Haidu. But what tell us a little bit about your own approach to this, because here you are, an Israeli living in the States at this time, and then working in jazz, but also working in classical music. And here you decide to write a piece which deals with a flamenco tradition, which is a completely other continent, Spain, and also with dealing with, say, the original being for guitar and dancer. So how did you combine all these influences and your background into to kind of come up with the idea for this piece for this particular brilliant performer?
Thank you. Well, I think the piece, in a way, is less about flamenco than it is about Kelly telling me about her love for flamenco. And I remember she was saying that she was dancing it also. She kind of came to it from the angle of the dance as well. And that really just sparked my imagination. So, I mean, my love for flamenco has been like, for many years now. And I went to Spain and worked with some dancers and guitarists and singers in various opportunities in New York, in Spain, in Israel, wherever I could find. Flamenco is a bit like a cult. It's like people are just like, it's kind of a way of life. But for me, I was less coming to the piece from the point of, let me write a flamenco piece for violin, but more like, just take just think about flamenco and that would be enough. And also, I think there was a lot of Fiddler on the Roof in the background, although it's not very pronounced. And above all, just Kelly, like just thinking of, the person you're writing for. That's a really powerful thing. And like, the fact that we managed to like really connect on such an incredible level is a true gift. And it's all thanks to you guys at ACO for this is literally what you're connecting the community. So you did exactly that. Wow, like mind blowing. And in general, I'm really drawn to this idea of like writing with having these different influences, because I'm very curious, and I would go like I spent time in India also and studied all these things, and would
You're
try.
in Turkey too for a while, right? In Turkey,
And in Turkey, yeah, but not necessarily trying to write a piece in that style, but just letting that flow in. And like one composer that really inspired me in doing that is actually you, with the time that we spent. And I was checking out, you sent me a bunch of your scores of some explorations you did in the Balkans or in Africa, or a lot of things, or from jazz that you incorporated. That so like you have these influences there, but you really make it your own, and you make it current to who you're writing for, the context, rather than trying to, because these traditions are endless. And I love flamenco, but I won't dedicate my life only to play flamenco and stop everything else, because that won't be authentic to who I am. So how do you bridge all that? That's kind of where I was coming from.
What was the inner compass? I just wanted to know which compass did you use? Did you think about that in?
Yeah, there is some boleria in there. Compass in flamenco, for those who don't know, it's kind of the rhythmic cycle, and also like the genre or the inner rhythm. But also like when somebody says that, oh, this guy he has compass, it means he has groove. He can really groove. It's kind of like that. It's also slang, so it's kind of a word that is very, very like in the very heart of flamenco music. Compass is the root. So inner compass is also like you have an inner rhythm pretty much, or an inner fire, inner groove. And it also comes to, to speak maybe about the compass of the flamenco, but also like Kelly said, like your own inner, like what is your interpretation of the compass, and like going with it, like letting it out, not denying it and trying to just be what it's supposed to be by the book, letting it become your own.
And I loved the double entendre. As soon as Guy told me the title, I mean, I love the idea of Compas is the Spanish version, and we both feel that, but we are both travelers, we're explorers, and the inner compass, and the idea that, we have this orientation to music and traditions that are far beyond our own. And, I lived in Spain for a year, and I did briefly flamenco dance. But it's just something that once awakened, I just love this stuff. And, the pure, but like Guy said, I don't want to, it was too much dedication, similar to the level of the violin, to actually continue to try to do flamenco dance. It is really a way of life. But to be able to borrow from that and to work with someone who has the passion for that music was just really cool and lots of fun.
And there is a question here, Guy, for you about whether this was your first composition for solo violin. And I wanted to ask you also, just to wrap into that question, about how did that affect you working with Jazz Composers Orchestra Institute? Did that come into was that the first time you were dealing with strings, or had you already worked with strings?
That was absolutely like a changing point for me. I mean, I got to write for the orchestra at school, at Manhattan School of Music, like at the end of each semester for 2 semesters. So that was 2 times. And I was like 100% sure that would be the last time I ever get to write for an orchestra, just because, like, what a privilege, And then came JQA, which is the short for the Jazz Composer Orchestra Institute. And it was like, all these things, like, because my experience writing in school was like very much like in a rush, almost like I'm trying to, like, it's almost over, so I better just. And then we had the chance to really look in depth into things and spend a lot of time, first of all, with, master composers like yourself and Anthony Chang and James Newton and Anthony Davis, and like these masterminds that are also coming from worlds of, like, melting worlds in their music. And then spend time with the players when we did the readings, and we were like really just hanging around the players and I got to do the readings in New York with the American Composers Orchestra. So yeah, that was huge. Like, that was really when I felt like, okay, I can actually do this, and I can see myself doing it again. And it doesn't have to be the last time.
Definitely not. And this will not be the last time either.
Yeah. Well, Kelly, tell us, is this something that you're thinking about taking farther, and about this particular collaboration?
Oh, absolutely. Like, we had envisioned doing a program together. I mean, this was a process where we could work together on it. And then eventually to a certain extent, Guy's work was solitary, and my work in learning it and bringing it to life was solitary. So that part is kind of ended, but we still want to work together and realize maybe the projects that we had envisioned last year when we got together for our impromptu jam session. So this will definitely be part of my future concert programs, and our collaboration together will definitely go to another level. And this was a really, really fantastic opportunity to get started with that. What's one of my favorite things, I also I'm a concert speaker, so I tend to do a lot of concert speaking, or speaking in general, but I love talking about the relationships that cause pieces to come into existence throughout classical music history. I think that's just such a cool thing, even tangential in different ways. So this is, I think it's, it's really great, like the Tzigan by Ravel. He says at the top of the score, Gélie d'Aragny. We don't know who Gélie d'Aragny is, but it's this amazing gypsy violinist that inspired him and played for him all of these themes all day, that he then rendered this work that I also love to play. So I love that not only do we have this collaboration together, I get to really set the tone for this piece going into the world. And also we are, a relationship in building the piece is codified in the score too. I think that's just a fun thing to send into history.
You know, we're getting so many requests to play this again.
I see.
Yeah, it's just coming in like I don't know. So we don't usually do this, but I think we're gonna do an encore to play the video again. So we'll go to that after I do my little outro. But I want to thank you both so much for coming on here today, and we will hear the I guess second world premiere of Inner Compas because it's been so heavily requested, which hasn't happened at every world premiere.
Thank you,
so,
Derek, and thank you, ACO, for this whole experience. It's just been marvelous. Not to interrupt, but I just want to make sure to say thank you for this.
Oh, it's a pleasure, and we thank you because this is one big collaboration between us, you, the staff, and all the people who are who are involved with this, and we're really this is what we wanted to do during this very difficult period for everybody, was to keep music alive, and you are helping us do that by writing the music, playing the music, creating, interpreting, and we're presenting. So so thank you so much, and obviously thanks to the people who helped make this possible, our donors and etc. And we want to I just want to tell everybody that our last Connecting ACO Community is actually featuring a sextet of ACO musicians, which is Jean Moyer, Debbie Wong, Sandy Robbins, Harry Searing, Diva Goodfriend Coven, and Susan Jollis. And so it's a work for violin, cello, viola, bassoon, harp, and flute. So it's quite an odd ensemble, but it's been written by Brian Neighbors, the composer Brian Neighbors, who was in the Detroit readings a couple years ago. And so we're very excited for that on October 4th. So please join us for that. I just want to give a shout out for that at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, October 4th. And for more information about that, you can always go to Connecting ACO Community on our website. And you can watch any of these again at Music on the Rebound or on ACO's YouTube channel, including Inner Compas, which we are now going to reprise for a second world premiere. Thank you so much, GUY MINTUS. Thank you so much, Kelly Hall-Tompkins, for your wonderful musicality and your contribution.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much.
Derek, thank you.
Okay. Play it again, Kelly.